The curtains are closing on this year's League Two campaign, but something special is just starting here in E10, and the O's are looking to finish the season strongly as Richie Wellens O's are looking to spoil Tranmere Rovers' playoff hopes. And today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by pundit Brendan Pitcher and Orient champion, Managers Player of the Season, Orient legend, I think it's fair to say, Joe Widdowson. Thank you for joining us today, gents. And Joe, how does it feel to be back in E10 today?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Got great memories playing. I think it was 4 years here, so enjoyed some good times. Met some great people, so got a lot of good friends here still. So it's lovely to be back.
And Brendan, it has been a wild season. I think we've covered pretty much every place on the table league practically. It's been a roller coaster, but it's one that maybe is closing a little bit sooner than we'd have liked it to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the signs under Richie Wellens have been positive, and we've had a good end to the season, a very good end to the season. I think if you look at the form under Richie Wellens, we're probably in and around a playoff side since he's come in. So a definite positive, and he'll be looking to end the season today on a high against a side who still got something to play for today, which is nice. You want a game at this stage of the season to be a little bit competitive and another side to have something on it, at least if you haven't got anything yourself.
And it's clear to see from Richie's team selection this afternoon that he is after all 3 points today. It's a strong lineup for the O's, and let's take a look at how the home side line up this afternoon. In goal, having played every minute of the campaign this season, number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux, returning from his injury back in the dark days of December. Number 2, Tom James. Number 3, Connor Wood. Number 6, Adam Thompson. 7, Paul Smith. 11, Theo Archibald. 16, Aaron Drynan. Wearing the armband, number 18, Darren Pratley. Number 19, Omar Beckles. 26, Hector Cipriano. And joining him in midfield, number 32, Jordan Brown. And on the subs bench for the O's, Sam Sargent, Harry Smith, Alex Mitchell, Ruelta Tiriou, Daniel Nkrumah, Zek Obiero and Ethan Coleman. So Brendan, that is a very strong lineup. You thought maybe we'd see a few of the younger players get a run out, but I think from what Richie said in the week as well, he's keen to finish the season on a high.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you want to take something into next season. I think Joe will remember well that game against Gateshead at the end of Justin's first season, where it set a standard to bring into the next season. I think Richie is that type of manager as well, where he'll respect other managers. He'll probably know other managers in the league. He'll probably know some of the managers who are in and around the playoffs, and I think they would be asking him, don't do Tranmere any favours, don't play a weakened team, play your strongest team, because this is still a competitive game. Tranmere need to win to get in the playoffs, and for the competitiveness of the league, you've got to take it seriously.
Brendan's touched on it there, Joe. That end to the season where Justin came in the winter and it was such a strong end, how big was that for what you went on and achieved?
Yeah, it was huge, and I actually remember that period really well. The gaffer, obviously, he was keen to build momentum. And I remember like the latter weeks of the season, there was no sort of, flip-flops on and taking it easy. He was making us train hard, and he was emphasising the fact that, if we finished the season strongly, we could take that into the next season, which we ended up doing, and we started off really well. And that was all built on the back end of the previous season. And
can you see similarities of that happening here? Do you think the O's today, they'll have that in their mind? Because obviously we haven't had anything to play for a while, but the levels have still been maintained at quite a high level, and I'm sure that'll be in their minds for looking further ahead.
Definitely, and from what I've heard from just speaking to a few of the lads about the new manager, he's not one to just sort of tick games off and just get them out of the way. I know that he'll want a good end to the season. Since he's come in, they've obviously picked up results, performances have improved as well. So, in front of a big crowd today, he'll want a good performance to finish the season.
And of course the pressure is kind of off a little bit, Brendan, and a big opportunity for Richie to bring Tom James back into the side, which, how welcome is that? We missed him.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think Tom James was our player of the season until he got injured. He was so integral to everything we do. I think he was the player with the most quality in terms of he was getting assists from right wing back, and he was integral to everything we do. So to see him come back when it was kind of a case of would he not, because he was out for such a serious injury, is a credit to him in terms of how he's trained. And I think Richie's described it as like the carrot on the end of the stick in terms of this is the last game of the season. It might not be the most competitive game for Orient, but it's a reward for his hard work in terms of getting back to full fitness.
And there aren't too many familiar faces on the team sheet for yourself, Joe, but there are some younger players that were probably coming through when you were here, and Hector's one of them starting today. It's good to see him kicking on, isn't it?
It's brilliant, yeah. Hector, he was sort of in and around the first team for a couple of years when I was here last season, and it's great to see that this year it looks like he's really kicked on. He's played a lot of games, and by all accounts his performances have been really good. So I'm actually really keen to watch him today. I've not seen him play this season, so I'm looking forward to seeing him.
And he's playing alongside Jordan Brown and Darren Pratley in a midfield three, maybe. How do you expect them to line up?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because normally with Richie, he has that kind of more advanced player when he plays a three in midfield. But when you talk about Hector Cipriano, Jordan Brown, Darren Pratley, they're all very similar, and they'll be like kind of in the 8 and 6 role. But so maybe it's a case of going up against Tranmere. They're a strong, sturdy kind of outfit who are best defensively. You're trying to match them up in there, winning the battle midfield first, and then we'll earn our right to play going into it.
And we've spoken about it a little bit. Obviously, the pressure does almost feel a little bit off from the O side. But do you expect we'll need to be at it today against Tranmere, who are obviously hoping for that playoff spot? And we're going to have to battle with them quite hard, and how do you think Richie will be getting the boys to kind of get up to that level?
Absolutely. I mean, you said, rightly that this is Tranmere's last throw of the dice to try and get in the playoffs, so I'm sure they'll be giving it everything. It's the final game of the season. They'll be literally emptying the tank to try and, get a result to take them into the playoffs. So, I think that hopefully, you'd like to think that would inspire the boys to put on a good show. I'm sure, like I said, Richie's keen for the season to end well. Results have been good lately. It was a good result last week away at Crawley, and I'm sure he want to send the fans home happy. It's a good turnout today, and it's always nice to finish the season on a high.
And if we look back to that Northampton game, it was a similar fixture in the sense of nothing to play for from our part, but everything to play for them. And it was a great game for the neutrals. We conceded a lot of goals, but it was an open game. Do you think it will be a similar case today? And do you think the Orient defence will need to really be up for it?
I think I've said that I think Tranmere have got one of the best defences in the league. I don't think they're as maybe expansive as Northampton will be, but as Joe said, this is a team that need to win to get in the playoffs, so there's no point in them playing on the back foot. So they're obviously going to try and go out there and attack from the start and get the 3 points. I think Richie will be quite disappointed with the way the team played in that Northampton game. I think we were very good going forward. We carved them open at will, but defensively it was just moments of a lapse of concentration that let us down. So I think the key thing today against the side like Northampton with something to play for, Richie will be looking to up the levels from that game, because don't think he'll be a want to end the home campaign losing 2 games in a row like those two.
And while we've got you here, Joe, I think it'd be rude to not look at the left-back position. Connor Wood's been a regular feature since Richie came in. And if you see some clips now on the screen since Connor's come back into the side, as part of the defence, he's going to have to work hard this afternoon. And have you been impressed with some of what you've seen from him?
Yeah, I actually remember playing against Connor when he was at Bradford, and just sort of like looking to the opposite side of the pitch. I remember being impressed by him. I thought he had good energy, liked to get forward well with good delivery, and also solid defensively. So I think especially since Richie's come back into the club, Connor's had a new sort of lease of life really, and he's been in good form. So hopefully more of the same from him today.
Hopefully so, and he's one that really did revitalise himself when Richie came in, Brendan, and he's one of a group of many, really. And how impressed have you been with him since he's come back in?
Yeah, I think under the previous manager it was kind of a case of he was in one game and out the other, and I think Joe will know better than me. When you're a player, you need that consistency. You want to know the manager believes in you. And for me, Connor Wood is probably one of our more consistent players, because I think he'll just give you a 7 out of 10 every week, be very solid, be good going forward, be good at the back, and that's sometimes just what you need at this kind of level, just to get you over the line in games and to have that consistency.
How big is that manager's belief then, Joe? Because I know you obviously picked up the Manager's Player of the Year award in that season that we went up, Justin being a former left-back himself as well. How big is it for the players to have a manager that believes in them and can really kind of inspire them?
It's massive. It's probably, unless you're an actual player, you don't understand the importance of it, but knowing that you have the belief and confidence of a manager is really huge for a player in terms of bringing out your best performances, like going into games without doubt and without sort of that worry, and knowing that your manager believes in you. It's just a massive positive, and for me personally, my time here, especially under Justin, that helped bring out my best form. So it can't be underestimated, just having that belief from the manager.
Everyone can remember just how consistent you were in that season, how well that paid off. And of course, don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube stream, today's game is available for international fans to watch. Head over to the Orient website, onlyoneorient.com, to purchase your match pass. And of course, you can pick up an audio pass if you're watching from the UK as well. We were just talking about that man, Richie Wellens, and the belief that he's breeded into this squad. So let's hear from him as we caught up with him earlier in the week.
That's our final game of the season now. Firstly, looking back at this kind of period you've had since you come into the club, and I guess first things first, mission was accomplished in terms of safety.
Yeah, I mean we accomplished that pretty quickly. So I just think this weekend, just enjoy it. So obviously the players will come with all the families, and obviously see if we can get as many supporters in and bring their families, and just try and make it a party atmosphere. And hopefully the weather will be good and we can all enjoy the day. I think we've got to a point where we actually deserve to come and turn up and just enjoy our stadium on the last day of the season and try and celebrate, you know, being hopefully a successful end to the season, and then obviously try and build for next year.
Obviously Tranmere come to town, they can still make the playoffs, and I guess that gives the game a bit of a much needed edge.
Well, again, I think I know what Tranmere are like as a club. They'll bring a lot of supporters, and I've played for Mickey as a player. Great guy, done really well, very, very successful with Tranmere, with Shrewsbury in League Two, so he's had multiple promotions. I mean, he'll be coming here to try and win the game, and then obviously hope that results go his way elsewhere. But listen, we have a job to do. I think we've been professional in everything that we've done against all the other playoff teams. You know, we hung on to get 3 points against Swindon with 10 men. So I just think we have to be professional. We have to try our best to win the game. If Tranmere turn up and they're on it and they take 3 points and they work as hard as they possibly can to get them 3 points, and we'll hold our hands up and say they deserve to win because they're playing for a big prize. But no, we'll be doing our best to try and obviously just get the points for our own sake.
Talking about ending it on a high, I believe that the game's actually officially sold out now as well, so it's good to see that supporters are buying into what you're trying to do.
No, again, it's fantastic. Hopefully the last sellout was against Barrow, but there's a few empty seats. I get the conundrum what we've got with that, so hopefully that'll be sorted out. So when you start getting a sellout, then it gives the players a good feel, and I think when you get a connection between the supporters that want to turn up, that want to fill a stadium, it gives players a big boost. So again, I get a good feel around the club every time we played a home game. I think the atmosphere's been really good. We want to build on that, and obviously if we can carry on our terrific away support, it'll just stand us in good stead for next year.
So the player of the we've got the ambulance coming across. Maybe they've seen Joe's brace. We've just got the player of the season awards announced behind us. I think we'll get confirmation that that's Lawrence Vigouroux picking up the player of the season award. We'll get that confirmed for you, but congratulations to whoever it was that won it. But now let's take a look at the visiting side for this afternoon, Tranmere Rovers, and their starting lineup. So in goal for Tranmere, number 13 Joe Murphy, number 2 Josh Cogley, number 3 Callum McDonald, 5 Tom Davies, 7 Kieran Morris, number 10 Kane Hemmings, 15 Josh Hawkes, number 19 Lewis Warrington, 20 Elliot Nevitt, number 22 Leo Connor, and their skipper number 26 Peter Clark. And it's a strong bench for Tranmere this afternoon with Ross Doohan, Chris Merry, Jay Spearing, Callum McManaman, Sam Foley, Nicky Maynard and Josh McPake. So there is the visiting side for this afternoon games, who the O's will be hoping to pick up all 3 points against. And what are you expecting from the Tranmere Rovers side this afternoon, Brendan?
Yeah, I think, like I've said, I think they're very, very good defensively. They probably don't score as many goals as you'd expect, considering some of the names on that team sheet. I think they're a side that have probably underachieved for me this season. I think you look at the names and you look at perhaps their budget, and even the manager, he's got them out of this division before. So to still not have their playoff place achieved by this stage of the season, I'd say they've probably underachieved in doing so, and they'll be looking to put that right today. By it'll take some results kind of going their way, but they'll just have to focus on their job, and if they win, they know that at least they've got a chance.
Are you surprised at all by some of the names on the subs bench there, Joe? Because they've got some big names on the subs bench, and they obviously need to win today. So what do you make of that?
They do, yeah. You know, I'm just looking at the team sheet here, and obviously there's a lot of quite experienced campaigners here. You know, the manager Mickey Mellon's been around the block, and the likes of, you know, Nicky Maynard, Jay Spearing, Callum McManaman. There's a lot of experience and a lot of games there between those guys. The captain Peter Clark as well. I think he must be like 37, 38 now, and he's still going strong. So, you know, I think they're an experienced bunch, and I'm sure they'll be coming into today's game, you know, with a game plan of, you know, firmly knowing what they want to achieve and trying to get a result to take them into the playoffs.
And they've obviously got to do their part to win, but a lot needs to go right for them. So I think it's Sutton and Swindon both need to lose and they need to pick up the points. As a player coming in and knowing that, what is the mindset? Do you have to kind of just focus on what you're doing and not worry about what's going on around the grounds?
You do. It's difficult because obviously, you know, there's so many different variables and you want to know what other results are and stuff at half time, you know, you want to know the scores, but as much as possible, you just have to focus on all you can do really and your own result and take care of that and hope, you know, the rest looks after itself.
And what Tranmere side do you expect tonight? You say they've obviously got a good defence, but do you feel as though they're going to bring the game to Orient this afternoon?
Yeah, they'll have to. Look, they need to win, so it's no good them sitting back and playing on the counter-attack. They've got to do their job first, like Joe says, and win the game. So they've got enough talented players in that team sheet to take the game to us. I really like Kieran Morris. I think he's a player that I think is out of contract and is leaving the club after this, so this might be his final game for the club. And you've got Kane Hemmings as well. He's a very accomplished striker at the level, so they've got the talent there to kind of take it to Orient. It'll just be interesting to see whether they switch up their game plan, because I think their fans at times this season have accused them of being too defence first and probably not taking games by the scruff of the neck enough.
We discussed it back when we played Northampton, Joe, about how Tranmere are in a position where the O's want to be around next season and playoffs at least. You know, that's what the club are very vocal in saying. And do you think they'll treat today as a case of testing themselves against the side that we want to be up and competing with next season? Yeah,
you know, possibly. I think, you know, I think at the start of the season there was a lot of optimism here that Orient would be, you know, up challenging around the playoff places, even looking at promotion. And I think since Richie's come to the club, that optimism's been renewed, you know, and people are thinking, you know, if they can finish the season strongly and take that form into the new season, then they've got every chance. I think League Two is such a competitive grind of a league, you know, and you know every team goes through poor spells, but it's about trying to turn those defeats into, you know, picking up draws, and when you're going through a bad run, you know, trying to pick up points here and there. I think a good start to the season is crucial, you know, to build confidence, and equally, you know, from the turn of the year, that's the time where you really want to hit a good run of form, you know, and then be going into sort of March, April time in the season, you know, in the top places and looking upwards. And so I guess that will be the aim for Orient next season. You know, for Tranmere today, they've still got that opportunity. Like you said, there's a lot that can happen with other results, but you know they'll be hoping that they have a bit of luck on their side. They put in a good performance today, and see where that takes them.
And they're going to need some experience, Brendan, and they've got some of that out on the pitch. And you've singled out Peter Clark as one of their stronger players. What are you expecting from him today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Joe alluded to him being 37 or 38. I think he might be a little bit older. I think he's 40 years old. So
really?
For him to have played the whole campaign for Tranmere this season as their captain, as I said, for one of the best defences in the league, he is the marshal of that defence. And as we're seeing from the clips here, he's just an absolute stalwart at the back, and he leads this team and got a little bit of a tenuous Orient link as well, being the brother of Nathan Clark, a former Orient captain. But yeah, I think he's so important to him, and I think I wouldn't be surprised to see him going out there next season at 41, still leading this defence, because he's showing a level of kind of fitness and keenness to keep playing at this level that is so impressive.
If you're one of the Orient attackers, though, you know what we've got in the lineup. You've got Theo Archibald, Paul Smith, even Aaron Drynan. They like running at plays. Do you think they'll be looking at a player that nearly double some of their ages? Do you think they'll be licking their lips and thinking that they can get at him today?
100%. You know, it's the last game of the season. Like Brendan said, 40 years old, a bit older than what I thought. I knew he was around Joby's age, but I didn't know he was 40. But, you know, yeah, it's the last game of the season. You want to test his legs out and, do you know what I mean, see how much he wants to run on a day like today. You know, you'd be sort of making runs all over the place, working the channels and getting him moving as much as possible, really. And, you know, I know that he's a very dominant centre-half. He's commanding and want to come and win headers. But I'm not sure he'll be too happy with the likes of, you know, Drynan, Paul Smith sort of running around him with sharp little runs here and there. So, yeah, it's important to test him out, really. And I'd actually see that as a big strength that Orient could exploit today.
And if we look at the reverse fixture, Brendan, it was really the fixture that kind of set us off on a downward spiral, you could say. We had to play them with, I think, a squad of about 14. Narrowly lost, to be fair to us. Didn't lose out too massively. Do you think there'll be a little bit of revenge in the minds of some of the Orient players? That was a dark kind of day for the season.
Yeah, it was a strange one because, like you said, we did have so many players missing, and there was a lot of players who were out of position or maybe who hadn't played for a while and who were out there that day. And Orient didn't show their best, and that's to be expected considering the situation. Tranmere themselves had a full squad that day. It was that kind of weekend just before Christmas where a lot of EFL clubs were disrupted, and we were one of those. But I think if you're an Orient player, you want to go out there and kind of show today what we're about and put in a better performance than last time when you're at full strength. And this is show Tranmere this is what we're really about, and you got a bit lucky last time considering the circumstances.
Well, of course, just to remind you, if you don't already follow us over at LOFC Live, we're running a competition to win 2 signed shirts and 2 signed balls. So that's 2 winners winning a shirt and a ball each.
Hang on.
Here he is. So do head over to us. Hello, we are live. We are live. You never know what happens on live TV, do you? But of course, so do head over to the Twitter account to get involved in that competition. You just got to follow the account and retweet that tweet to be in with a chance of winning. And we've touched on it briefly, Joe, but I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit more about how special that season was, and I'm sure as players, or maybe you don't, but how massive that is for the fans to have gotten out the league so soon, just a season after you joined us. That must still really kind of live long in your memory.
Yeah, it's my best day, by a mile here at the club. It's fantastic. So today's actually sort of reminding me a little bit of that day, like a couple of years ago. The full house. I remember it wasn't a great game. I think it was a 0-0 draw against Braintree. Yeah. But there was just so much excitement. It was bubbling over in the stands. And then at that final whistle, everyone pouring onto the pitch. Just really special memories. And yeah, just such a great day. So, obviously it won't happen this year, but possibly next year. I'd love to see Orient competing at the top of the league and pushing for promotion to League One.
And after everything that happened in the months following that as well, it was such a roller coaster of a time. But I'm sure the bond, there's a few still in the squad, but I'm sure that bond is still there with the old group. I'm sure you still have that connection.
Of course it is. Yeah, we've got our Champions WhatsApp group that everyone pipes up in from time to time. I'm still in touch with a lot of the boys. Made some really good friendships for life with a lot of the lads from that National League winning season. So yeah, it's just such a fantastic bond. It's like a real brotherhood, and it was all created by Justin. He's an unbelievable manager, but an even better human being. He's just a real special man, and he created memories. For all of us. Players, supporters, everyone associated with the football club. He gave us really great times that will live long in the memory.
And of course, where stood the Justin Edinburgh stand is looming over us, and he's made his mark, you've made your mark. I mean, don't really know what the question is, but just how special is he, and to see the stand and see the recognition he's still getting, it still must touch your heart, kind of thing.
It does, and just sort of you talking to me about it now is bringing back a lot of memories. Seeing his name up on that stand's fantastic. It's just a reminder for everyone about what he gave to people. And one thing about Justin is that everyone's got such special, unique memories of conversations with him, of interactions with him, jokes that he made, things that he said in the dressing room, around the training ground. Just such a real special character. For me, he gave me my most enjoyable 18 months in football. And yeah, I can't speak highly enough of him. I'm still in touch with his family, with his wife Kerry, his son Charlie. Just a great guy, brilliant human being, and I miss him. I think about him all the time, and I miss him so much.
And were you aware when you did get that promotion back to the Football League? It was the first time that we dropped out of the top divisions, and was it made a thing then of how big it was? We're only here today because of that group of players and because of Justin and what we're now trying to build on and do. Did that register at the time, and does it register now, I suppose?
It didn't register at the time. I think one thing about football is that you sort of, you go by like game to game, season to season, and every so often you get on a journey and you don't know where it starts or how you get on it, but you have like a leader like Justin, you have a special group of teammates who you create that bond with, and all of a sudden things start to snowball, and then before you realise you're heading for something special. And that's the best way I can describe our season when we got promoted. Justin came in at probably the lowest time I've experienced. We were on a terrible run. We couldn't buy a win, and he came in and he just completely transformed everything from top to bottom. And like we spoke about, I remember we finished his first season strongly, a real good feel factor around the place. We took it into next season, and then what happened. We had a terrific season, and we just created those memorable times. So yeah, you don't know how it happens, but these times come along, and you just have to enjoy them as best you can. So hopefully something's been created here now under Richie Wellens.
Well, there are some similarities, but I mean, on behalf of all the fans, I guess thank you for those special memories. And as we said, there are some similarities building, and Richie is hoping to create some memories of his own and some new ones for the O's. And let's take a look at the starting lineup and remind ourselves of how the O's line up for this afternoon's fixture. So very quickly in goal for the O's, number 22 Lawrence Vigouroux, number 2 Tom James, number 3 Connor Wood, number 6 Adam Thompson, 7 Paul Smith, number 11 Theo Archibald, 16 Aaron Drynan, wearing the armband, number 18 Darren Pratley, number 19 Omar Beckles, and 26 Hector Cipriano. And finally, 32 Jordan Brown. And on the bench for the O's, Sam Sargent, Harry Smith, Alex Mitchell, Ruel Sotiriou, Dan and Krumer, Zek Obiero, and Ethan Coleman. Well, the O's are out on the pitch, so of course don't forget, if you're watching along live on YouTube, this stream will be ending shortly, so head over to the Orient website to pick up your audio pass, and international fans, you can watch along. But now, of course, it's time to pass over to our commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Well, this is it, the last day of a season that started with high expectations. It finishes with high expectations, and that's because of the impact of Richie Wellens. The recent results have been impressive, and Leyton Orient would love to